Hey, what's up, party people? Welcome to a happy hump day edition of SJU, where today, as all days, we're talking about bears and cocaine. Welcome to the show. I've got Danielle, Kim, Eric, full house today. Not much news except for this big one story that I'm super excited about. Guys, on a scale of 1 to cocaine, how excited are you for Cocaine Bear? Danielle, we'll start with you.
Oh, I am how many cocaines? I am 20 cocaines excited for that's how drugs work, right? I will take one cocaine. I'm 20 cocaines excited for the Cocaine Bear movie.
Kim?
I was dumbfounded there. I will up that. I will see your 20 cocaines, Danielle, and raise you 40. That's how excited I am. Is that how betting works? Is that how
Yeah,
betting
that's how it works.
So betting works.
Eric,
That'll
are you
do.
gonna are you gonna speedball us, or are you gonna just keep adding cocaines?
I'll just say I'm just one giant bear's filled with cocaine's worth. How much you can get in that bear. That's how excited I am.
So a little bit of background, if you
Kilos.
guys don't know what we're talking about yet. Elizabeth Banks, this is real. She is directing a bear-centric thriller produced by Phil Lord and Chris Miller, who are all real Hollywood professionals, and have decided that this is going to be a project that's going to be a reality. It's based on a true story about a bear who ate a bag of cocaine. And when I say bag, I mean 70 pounds of cocaine that was dropped from an airplane by a local drug smuggler, Andrew Thornton, who probably went to the woods later and said, "Where's my cocaine?" And then found it.
I put it right here.
I dropped it right around here. um, so look, the exact plot details of this are under wraps. They're trying to shoot it this summer. And yeah, I already asked you guys if you're excited, but like, what kind of film do you see this being? Is this going to be like a nature doc or like animated? Like, any guesses to what this plot is going to be?
I'm guessing tonally this sounds kind of very Coen Brothers, right? With a bear, like
Coen Brother Bear.
a dark crime thriller where people are doing mishaps and the danger is real, but so is the comedy plus bear. I think that is
Yeah.
that's your main thing there.
As long as they don't do like the Kangaroo Jack and they have like all the images of Cocaine Bear rapping, and then we find out Cocaine Bear doesn't rap in the movie. I think
Oh God, Kangaroo Jack, yeah, which was falsely advertised because Kangaroo Jack is barely in that, and he does not rap except in a dream sequence. So I hope they don't pull.
But he
pull
put the
one of
money
those.
in the jacket, and the jacket was a kangaroo.
I mean, firstly, I will say that apparently, Spencer, the guy died shortly after dropping the cocaine in the
Hmm.
woods that the bear ate. So if they go with the true story, he will die having jumped out of his plane in a parachute that didn't open.
Ooh.
Yeah. But the story, it sounds a lot like American Made, Doug Liman's American Made from 2017, if you ever saw that. So I would think that the tone may be similar, which was quite comedic.
Yeah, and look, you bring up a good point about the true story and that this guy died not having a parachute. Obviously, the bear died because bears or people are not supposed to do 70 pounds of cocaine in a sitting. But to that, I say this. When has Hollywood ever been beholden to the true story that they optioned? All they bought was the rights to something called Cocaine Bear. They're now able to tell any tale they like that has to do with a bear doing some party drugs. It, do we know, is Cocaine Bear really the title, or are we just running with that?
I think it is the title.
it's the
what
only
people
thing
are
I've
searching
seen.
on YouTube for what it's
I
worth.
mean,
So
why would it not be the title, Spencer?
I hope it is, because that's something that I would pay money to see, regardless of its quality. I'm excited that it's Elizabeth Banks and Lord Miller. That makes me even more excited. But if this were like a Canon Films or like a Troma movie, I would also I would also hand over all my cash to see Cocaine Bear.
It's almost a shame that it'll probably be good because I would love to see this in the worst hands and see what happens with it.
Um, now, uh, I was just pontificating about this before we ran, but I'll ask again. Do you guys think this could spawn a franchise, either Cocaine Bears 1 through 7, or other? What's your other animal plus drug movie pitch?
I mean, I was thinking about this before you asked that question, and I thought, we could even have prequels. We could have underage smoking behind the bike sheds bear to kick off the franchise.
It's just he started out
That's
so
the
innocuous.
prequel.
And then he worked up to boozed up in the park bear. And then it all started to fall apart at Cocaine Bear. But then sequels could be Heroin Bear, Meth Bear, and finally Crocodile Bear.
No. Oh, that's
Yes.
brutal. That's when you've fallen real low, just like
That's a good one.
smoking your own shoe leather or whatever happens when you do crocodile. Any other what other animals could be on what other drugs, Danielle?
I was thinking a Popper's penguin. Just a penguin going out for a good time, not a long time. You know what I mean?
Mr. Penguin's Poppers. Yes.
Mr. Penguin's Poppers.
Oh no. Eric, anything to add to that?
I mean, I'll just go with what I said when we were talking briefly before we started filming, which was mushroom frog.
Mushroom frog.
They're both low to the ground. Why not combine them? It's funny, by the way, though. I was glancing at the story of this guy, and I'm like, okay, I get why you want to tell this guy's story, because he was like an army paratrooper who became a narcotics officer and a lawyer, and then said, you know what? I'm just going to start a drug smuggling ring. I'm going to switch up. So then died spectacularly and took a poor bear down with him. So I see the appeal there.
I think this definitely has the risk of becoming much like The Revenant did, where like this is a movie about a drug smuggler, and they'll probably title it something like American Made or like a Forest Flight or something like that. But all anyone's going to talk about is the bear scenes of the time where that bear had its way with Leo.
Maybe it tells two parallel stories about Andrew and the bear and how they intersected eventually.
Yeah, because the other half of it, the bear part of it, I hope sincerely is either like the Russian Avengers movie where the bear gets a gun and after doing enough cocaine, or that's what's happening from the bear's point of view, or there's this French film that I think was just called The Bear. Oh yeah, keep showing shots of that because why not? And it was just like about a bear it was almost wordless, and it was about a bear kind of wandering around the woods. And there's a scene where the bear eats mushrooms and like trips balls, and it's fantastic. So there's already a cinematic model for this. And I definitely recommend everybody check out, the name of it, I really think is just The Bear, but it's a French film, and it'll give you that fix that you need before Cocaine Bear drops.
Part of a very big expanded universe, so we're ready.
Yeah. I wonder if Ryan, does chat have anything they want to chime in about Cocaine Bear related?
Well, someone did ask that same question before you guys answered it, of like which animal and which one would you want to do together?
Yeah.
Prince of Poo Poo called it American Made, like how Kim Taylor. So I think that was probably the best thing I saw.
They were calling the bear Pablo Escobar at the time in real life, I believe. And I did want to add that apparently I read that the guy that did the autopsy on the real life bear said, I've written the quote down, there isn't a mammal on the planet who could survive that, which begs the question, could a reptile survive it, and what would happen? So, we were talking about crocodile, maybe crocodile could be.
If you have a yacked up crocodile, look the F out. That's terrifying.
Spencer, actually, so I have seen The Bear. I just didn't realize I was watching a French movie. I was like, oh yeah.
I mean, yeah, the bear doesn't speak any particular language besides bear. It's not like Le Growl. So you never know. And this has to be paid, but I didn't realize this, that there's basically one bear actor who gets all the parts in Hollywood. It's not Randy Quaid. It's Bart the Bear 2, who's the sequel to Bart the Bear.
Because the original Bart the Bear was in the movie we're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, but Bart the Bear 2 is in Dr. Dolittle 2. It was in the Game of Thrones, The Bear and the Maiden Fair, that famous episode. We Bought a Zoo, Friends for Life, Evan Almighty, Without a Paddle. Basically, anytime you need a bear, you get Bart the Bear 2. So I look forward to his work.
And yeah,
what a professional.
Yeah.
His predecessor was in Legends of the Fall, The Edge, so was working with some big names in Hollywood.
Huge.
Were they related?
Were they related? I was trying to find that if that's actually son of Bart the Bear. but someone else will have to do
That's
it.
a movie I
I
want to
think they
see.
just decided. I think they just decided that it's like the Dread Pirate Roberts. You know, you just take on the mantle.
Yeah.
Hollywood nepotism at it again.
Hollywood
Yeah.
On the
nepotism,
Bears.
totally. Oh, dad got you that job. So anyways, we'll have to do a follow-up story on that. Yeah, I'm just excited for original ideas to come back to Hollywood. This I would genuinely rather see a movie called Cocaine Bear than another, I don't know, Peter Pan adaptation, unless it had a cocaine bear in it. But
They sing Nirvana songs, Spencer. Come on.
yeah, but they sing Nirvana. Moving on. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe for more Cocaine Bear content and hit the like and hit that bell. I promise you we'll be covering this story in its entirety. No show tomorrow, but the week after, Eric and Roth will pick back up where they left off with WandaVision, and they will be doing Falcon and the Winter Soldier reviews and recaps every Friday. So I'm super looking forward to that. I hope there's just as much vitriolic fan theories in that series as there were for WandaVision. Are you excited, Eric?
Mephisto's not in this one. I'm out.
And I'm out. There's other news in the universe, so let's head around and see what else happened. Speaking of original films that I'm psyched for based on just like one piece of information, there's a photo of Lady Gaga and Adam Driver in a turtleneck that I'd like to just appreciate for the moment. Talk about cocaine. That is a fit if I've ever seen one. Wow. So this is for a upcoming movie called Ridley Scott is doing House of Gucci. It's based on a novel, The House of Gucci, a sensational story of murder, madness, glamour, and greed. That's about the famous family dynasty and the real-life downfall of Reggiani, who was convicted of plotting Gucci's murder. I'm reading this for the first time. I didn't know about this. The fashion boss was shot outside his office in Milan in 1995, with his ex-wife sentenced to 29 years in prison for orchestrating the assassination. Wow. So they're currently filming this in Italy. It's got the aforementioned Adam Driver and Lady Gaga, also Al Pacino, Jeremy Irons, and Jared Leto. What do you guys think?
Snyder Cut people are in this.
Yeah, so this is part of the Snyderverse, actually.
Store the Snyderverse.
Unofficially. Based on that synopsis and just this photograph, I'm super excited for this movie. What do you guys think?
Yeah,
I
I
think
did not. Go ahead, Danielle.
Oh no, just gonna say no. It looks great. It is definitely giving me 1995, which is what all the kids look like right now, anyway. And yeah, like it's an interesting story. I really like the cast. I'm into it.
Yeah, I did not need to hear the synopsis. I was in at the photograph. I wondered how many times Lady Gaga has stood next to someone and been completely upstaged by what they're wearing. And I think that it's gonna. I think the tourist board of Ireland is rubbing its hands together because he has just kick-started a renaissance of the Aran sweater.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely, as soon as quarantine's over, I'm going to the Alps. I'm getting the biggest turtleneck I can find, and then I'm tying another turtleneck around my waist, around my very high-waisted pants.
I saw someone say this on Twitter, and I agreed, which is it's like when you saw that first picture of Leo and Brad Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and you're like, yep, I'm in, you know?
Yeah.
Two iconic people dressed in a very distinct way from the past with a very talented director. I'm in, and also, you know, kudos to Ridley Scott, who's 83 and chugging along. Someone noted that this is the second movie he's directed during COVID. That guy likes the work, and more power to him.
That's cool. I worry a little bit about, I mean, Adam Driver, I don't know if I've seen every movie he's made, but like, I don't know how often I've seen him disappear into a role. Like a lot of times it looks like Adam Driver dressed up as someone. So I'm curious to see whether this will look like Adam Driver in a costume or Gucci, because I just can't imagine him dressed like that doing an Italian accent and me not thinking it's like a weird Italian Kylo Ren sketch on SNL or something like that. Like, do we think he can really disappear? Like Adam Driver with a thick Italian accent? How do you feel about that?
I hope he does that. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah,
That was
really.
awesome.
Buca de Beppo. Okay, well, I'm super excited for this one. And I hope that's just what both of them wear. I hope this is like behind the camera, offset. They rolled in.
She always dresses like The Rock in the 90s. Like that's what that is.
And continuing the stream of movies that I'm genuinely excited for. Creed 3 is happening, first of all, which is great. And directing will be Michael B. Jordan. He's going to be in front of and behind the camera. He'll be doing the third installment of Creed, which will be dated for Thanksgiving of 2022. Well, sweet. Are you guys excited that Michael B. Jordan is going to be directing Creed? Who directed Creed 2? Was it? It wasn't Coogler still, was it?
No, it wasn't. Why am I blanking on his name?
You know, someone else did.
Yeah.
Google Steven something, wasn't it, Steven?
Yeah, I'm while we look that up, I am
Yes,
incredibly
Steven Caple Jr.
excited.
Yes,
There we go. Yeah, I'm excited. Look, Michael B. Jordan can tell me that he's doing anything. And I would love to say like, oh, you know, like it's his talent, like he's been in the industry forever, so you know he can do it. That's true too. But also, I mean, he's got pretty privilege. You can tell me he's doing anything, and I'm gonna be like, yeah, he is. So, but yeah, he's been in the industry forever. I'm excited to see him like direct something this big.
Yeah.
Good for him.
And I think, Danielle, that I noticed a lot of like, you know, actors who grew up as like kid actors become directors. And I think there's something to that. When you've been on sets that long and you've been around it so long, A, you probably just get bored of just acting. But B, I'm sure you actually, you know, if you're curious, you're going to learn a lot about how the whole process works. He's worked with such talented people through the years. And of course, this is a franchise that he's been a part of since it started, or I guess part of this tangent of it, if not counting Rocky. So it makes sense to me. And I you know, you never know how these things will turn out, but I feel like he might be a talented director, that talented actor. We'll see.
Yeah, I agree. I hope that Stallone is fairly hands off and lets him, obviously it's his debut and he'll need some guidance, but lets him create as much of his vision as he can, because I'd love to see that. I really want to see what he can do.
Yeah, he's jumping in with a pretty high degree of difficulty. This isn't like making a indie film about, you know, two kids in a van. This is definitely, the direction has been one of the high points of Creed is those fight scenes and those sequences. So it's gonna be tough. And also apparently this one might not even have Stallone in it. So we're kind of going past Rocky, although I hope that just as Dolph Lundgren got his roses for Creed 2, that we bring back Mr. T, we bring back Clubber Lang, and perhaps Clubber Lang Jr., who's out for revenge, because that's all you can do with these Rocky stories is time is a flat circle, right? Like,
yeah. I am curious because the way Creed 2 ended, it seemed to insinuate that this might, you know, Rocky might now step away and now, you know, reconcile with his son and just like go happy into retirement. But I also know this is Hollywood and that Stallone's been playing this character forever, and that maybe he'll be in this less. I could see that, right?
Yeah.
Like maybe Rocky's in it a couple scenes, but he's not like actively his trainer anymore. I think that might be it.
He could be a force ghost at the end.
Sure.
I just feel bad for him to the extent that I can feel bad for Michael B. Jordan is that like he has to stay in that shape, I guess, year round now between like this and maybe being Superman. It's like you will never get to eat a piece of bread.
But he makes the girls' retainer snap, right? So
okay, moving on to our final little story of the day is James Cameron will not go quietly into that good night because Avatar is going to hit cinemas in China for a little re-release, just a little chance to jockey back up to that #1 global spot and take it from Disney's cold, dead hands. Avengers Endgame overtook Avatar for the biggest box office movie of all time, summer 2019. And there is currently $7.8 million separating the two of them for total global gross. So what do you think about James Cameron going back into the Chinese theaters to retake that top spot? Is it petty? Is it just a coincidence that this is happening? What's your take?
I want it to be petty, but I am a petty person. So that says more about me than it says about James Cameron. I think it's probably one of those, a little from column A, a little from column B. I mean, Avatar, I've said this before, like in the theater, when you have like the full experience of Avatar, it is much better than when you watch it at home. So good for them that they get to see that. But yeah, it's probably petty. I don't think that they share one of those really fun, you beat me, art, like the art that they always do with the poster where they're like, congratulations. I don't know if we see that one this time around. But yeah, a little pettiness.
I just to me, don't forget it's Disney wins no matter what, because Avatar is a Disney joint now. So to me, I mean, last year when there was movies being approved to come back out in theaters when China was first starting to reopen, Avatar was on that list. And there was an interesting article I was reading that mentioned that Avatar was one of the first giant American movies to like hit huge in China when China was being extremely slim on what they would even let play there. They're still very restrictive on that. So there's actually kind of a lot of connection there with that movie. And also you have to remember, like I always figured we were getting an Avatar re-release, a bigger one, US and everywhere before Avatar 2 opens. That movie's coming. They're spending a lot of money on it and multiple sequels, and they're going to want to kind of put Avatar back in people's minds. So I figured this was inevitable, and Endgame had just squeaked by it. So it's just like it looks like it's almost certainly going to happen. I think pre-sales yesterday, they said we're already at like 5.5 million for Avatar going into the weekend. So it's going to happen. But I also think people just need to relax and know that even if you love Endgame more, which I do as well, it's okay. And guess what? Disney's happy no matter what. They're just taking that money.
I'm happy for James Cameron. I think he's going to save cinema yet again with Avatar 2. Kim, did you have any thoughts?
Well, yeah, I agree with Eric, but I am also hoping that they retaliate by re-releasing Infinity War and Endgame as a double bill in theaters shortly
There
after.
you go.
Take that. This is like a Palpatine thing, right? Like Disney would love for people to keep trying to get these movies back at number one because they control it all.
They're playing both sides. Damn.
Yeah.
Oh man, there's no way out except for the Snyderverse, baby. Anyways, that's for another show. We have some live questions that we got that have rolled in throughout the show, so we have time for a couple of these. And the really hard hitting ones, like Brian Wilson asks, "What's your worst hair product experience that doesn't involve glue?"
Oh.
Well, who says it doesn't involve glue? But yeah, go on, Danielle.
No, mine is just, so this wasn't a hair product. It was just a thing we did as teens, was trying to dye your hair with Kool-Aid.
Yep.
That's probably the worst experience I've ever had with trying to do something like that.
It's a bad idea, kids. Mine, I can't think of hair product experiences. Mine is just like a piece of bubble gum got slapped into my head, and it was just like, well, this is gonna ruin my day. I don't remember how I got it out, but it was like some cutting had to be done, and I don't know what you use on that, like castor oil or something to get it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, not many hair products in my past.
That similar thing happened to me, Spencer, when I was a kid. Because they used to do it in the comics I used to read, put bubblegum behind my ear to save it for later.
Mm-hmm.
And it got stuck in my hair, and I cut it out, and I didn't tell my mum. And then when I went to the hairdressers next, they said, "Have you been cutting your hair?" And I said, "No." That's it.
Never.
My whole life, if I let my hair grow really at all, I get Jufro going. So
Nice.
I've always just kept it short, except for a couple of unfortunate times in high school where I had like curly mullet. And so there's been a very, very minimal product involved in my hair.
Oh, there was a scabies outbreak at a summer camp that I went to. So I remember having to bathe, and including shampoo that was some of the most foul smelling stuff you've ever had. Don't use scabies shampoo recreationally if you're ever given the option. But that's...
my elementary school had a lice outbreak, and all the kids who had it, which I was among, were sent into the outdoors to wait for their parents. And we started playing superheroes, and the kids who didn't have lice were really jealous of us because inside the class seeing us playing. I'm like, I'm the Hulk. I have lice.
No, I want lice. Yeah, we're all Ant-Man. All right, Jim One asks, "Is there a movie you started but didn't finish until years later?" For me, it was Demolition Man. I had it on VHS, but the ending got taped over.
What a classic problem.
A shame. Yeah. Have you ever watched something over like many sittings or pick something up later?
Well, for me, this is a recent one because I always thought that I had watched Point Break from start to finish many times through my childhood. And then I watched it recently, and I remembered none of the ending. And I think I was stopping it because the last third of the movie is boring.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, wait. Whoa. Hold on.
You're wrong, Kim.
The skydiving sequence? Come on, that's incredible.
Yeah, no, I forgot about that, but I only watched it this week. Funnily enough.
Oh my gosh, this is
Sorry
That's
about the skydiving, minus the skydiving sequence. There's a lot of stuff that happens after.
Yeah.
The
We have to see how far Johnny's willing to go to save what's her face. It's thrilling. Yeah, Tank Girl. What I'm trying to think of one for me. I guess I saw National Treasure like in 7 different sittings across 17 different airings on TNT or TBS or whatever. Just that's always a movie that I caught when it was on television with commercials and never actually sat down and watched start to finish. It's pretty fun. Entertaining little film there.
I think for me, it would be when Cobra Kai was starting. I was like, oh, I'm going to rewatch all the Karate Kid movies. And then I was like, oh, I've never seen all of 3. It was one of those movies I saw chunks of on cable, but I was like, okay, I never saw the final fight. I saw that they started a tree business. I saw that there was some crazy over-the-top villains, but I never got to the tournament. So it wasn't until 3 years ago, whenever Cobra Kai debuted, that I finished Karate Kid 3 20-something years later.
Yeah. For me, it's just I walked out of Goldmember. It's the only movie I've ever walked out of, and I walked out of Goldmember and didn't wind up finishing it until years later. And you know what? The first thing that I did was right.
Wow.
I just proved myself right.
The only movie I've walked out of was Rodney Dangerfield's Ladybugs. Even as a 5-6-year-old, I was like, this is just not doing it for me. And my mom was like, yeah, this is bad.
Amazing episode. I don't know, Spencer, if you ever listened to the How Did This Get Made podcast, but their Ladybugs episode is top notch. So.
I'll have to check that out. Yes. All right. Well, that sounds more fun than answering more fan questions. So I'm going to do that. You guys, thank you for joining me. Danielle, Kim, Eric, always a pleasure. And thank you for watching. We will be back, not tomorrow, but probably a few days after that for another episode of SJU. Bye-bye.